when we talk about Giroud and Morata, the answer to your question is no. You cannot win a title with these two guys leading the line. And I was a fan of Morata when he first came to the Premier League. I thought he was going to be a hit, and I'm here to tell you I was dead wrong. He's had another offseason to prepare for this, and now the whole idea of him getting used to the league is now an old idea, and that's it. It's an old idea, and it's all dreams, and whatever Morata was going to be with Chelsea, we have seen what the reality is, and the truth is it's not good enough.
So what do you say to this then, Ale, or Shaka as well, because our ESPN FC Chelsea blogger has given Morata a rating of 6 today for his performance.
He's being graded on a curve. Let me tell you, Morata was not only bad when he had the ball, he was bad when Azpilicueta's trying to score a goal. He's the one that keeps it from going into the goal. It's just, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I want him to do well, and yet you feel that every time he steps out on the field is that he doesn't do enough for you in possession of the ball because he has a tendency of going down very easily. And believe me, I'm telling you that whole idea of somebody going down easily, and I'm telling you that he's doing it because it seems very clear. And there are moments in which there are 1v1 situations where we have seen him in the past when he's confident, he takes somebody on and going for the shot. It's almost as if he's turning away from those opportunities. And at that point, you just have to ask the question, man, is this really what's going to provide Chelsea what they need in order to win a title? I don't think so.
Gab, what's your take on Morata? Are you just as unimpressed as Ali and Shaka, or at least with today's performance?
Well, I mean, I think Ali, while criticizing Morata, I think hinted at it. Today really wasn't necessarily a day to judge because, when there's 8 opponents in the 6-yard box, I think most players are going to struggle. It's obvious he's had an absolutely rotten calendar 2018. I thought he did okay when he first arrived. There's obviously a very skillful player in there. But you know what? If Saudi can't get that guy out, I think Saudi's going to be okay. Remember, this is a guy who achieved all that he achieved in Naples with 3 little guys up front. If that's what it takes, I don't think he'd have a problem playing Pedro or Hazard through the middle. He's done stuff like this before. It may not be ideal, but you make that your base formation, and then when you need to, you throw in a big body like Giroud. Needs must. If that's what he has to do, that's what he has to do, and I think he's open to that.
It's not often Alejandro Moreno gets choked up, but he did, witnessing his countryman Josef Martinez score that very special goal for Atlanta United to become the all-time leading goal scorer in a single season for MLS. Ale, just put into perspective why it means so much for him and for your country, Venezuela.
Yeah, and I said as much in the broadcast that the current situation in Venezuela and the country and the political instability, social unrest, when you have a country that has financial chaos and there are no answers in the near future, there doesn't seem to be any solutions. There's a hemorrhage of human talent leaving the country because it's nearly impossible to actually live and survive in Venezuela when every day becomes about survival rather than living. It's very difficult, and it's a very stark reality, and it's a country that I'm not familiar with because that's not the country that I grew up in, and certainly not the country that Josef Martinez grew up in. But that's reality now in Venezuela, and so this moment of Josef Martinez doing what he's doing in Major League Soccer, it provides a moment of hope. It provides respite. It provides a moment to be proud of Venezuela, and those moments are very difficult to find in the current situation in our country. When Venezuela turns this around, and hopefully sooner than later, whenever it does happen, it's going to be because of the talent of the Venezuelan people. And there's no better example of the talent of the Venezuelan people than what we're seeing right now from Josef Martinez. Hopefully this is something that Venezuelan people can rally around and can feel very proud of. And if it's only for a brief second, that they can forget about survival, that they can forget about what's currently going on there, then Josef Martinez is doing all the Venezuelan people a favor. And we should all be very proud to be part of what he's doing, to appreciate what he's doing, and certainly for me, being there was an honor.
Do you want to say it one more time? Vamos, Venezuela, say it.
No. First of all, don't you say it.
If
somebody's going to say it, I'm going to say it.
Take it away, Ale.
Vamos! Vamos, Venezuela!
All right, so Inter
Honesty is the
Milan,
best
there's
policy, Shaq.
the match stats. Now we have to go out to Gab Marcotti because Gab, Inter Milan, supposed to be the second favorites after Juventus to win the Serie A title. Up 2-0 at home, blow that lead. What gives?
Well, what gives is that, this is Inter's DNA. This was almost one of the most Inter performances you're ever going to see. Outstanding in the first half, absolutely cruising, and then completely at 6s and 7s. I think this one is on Handanovic, obviously, with I'd say mistakes for both goals, but also on Spalletti. They're 2-0 up, and then they basically retreat, try to play in the counter. They're not really suited to that. They were really taking the game to Torino in the first half, and then you see bad old Inter like from the 1980s that would just throw everything away. This requires a rethink because they've gone backwards, I think, compared to the Sassuolo game.
Inter gone backwards from that Sassuolo game, which we thought we could forgive them for because it has been their bogey team for some time now. Shaka, you were watching the game closely too. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm with Gab on this one. Other than I don't think Handanovic could have done a whole lot with the second, given the deflection. The first is down to him, yes, but still, Inter were better than that, and you saw that in the first 45, where you play 3 at the back, you 2 wing backs push, and they press Torino very high up the park. All of a sudden, you concede a goal, and the team retreats into a shell, and they look exposed. In the end, maybe they could have snatched a win, but a draw is exactly what they deserve.
So when we think of Inter as being the team that is going to push Juventus, well, let's compare it to Juventus. Well, Juventus, in a game against Chievo Verona, where it seemed like they were not going to get anything out of that, they end up getting 3 points. And that's really the difference. You look at a team in Juventus that it will find ways to get results, whereas Inter will find ways at times to throw results away.
Welcome into Extra Time. So good to have Ale Moreno back. I've been so tired of Shaka Hislop and his antics.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
What did you do, Shaq?
I don't know. This is covered news to me.
I'm just kidding. We've also got
I thought we had such a
there.
good working relationship,
Because
Alexis.
In case
Apparently
you don't trust
not.
what these two say, that's why we've got Gab Marcotti.
Huh?
Guys, ready for questions?
Yeah, all right.
We've not gotten off to a good start here, by the way. Let me just say that.
Shaka, you know you're my day one. You're my fellow West.
Don't try to bottom me up
No, no.
now.
Nothing can get between
Don't try to
us.
bottom
Except for
me up
Ali,
now.
apparently now.
Whoa.
Too late.
What
Too
did I
late.
walk into?
Shaka's sour.
Carry on.
Let's have this question.
Very
from
long arms, Shaq.
Viva VAR. Is that what I think it is? Viva VAR? Like, long live video sister referee?
Okay.
That's pretty cool. All right.
All right,
After
good.
seeing that potato landmine looking pitch Valladolid had versus Barcelona, what's the worst pitch you can remember playing on? Ooh. Shaka, we know in the Caribbean we've got some interesting pitches.
No, I've played on
A
some
lot of
bad
them are
pitches back
sand.
home.
That's probably why. But
Well, I'm guessing.
professionally,
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm going to think that this is more on the professional level.
which still applies.
Some of the toughest ones have been when some of these teams from Europe come over to the U.S. and then we would be playing Major League Soccer, and we would have to play the game before or after the European teams. And usually those took place in stadiums where they have a turf, and they would bring the natural grass in patches and then piece that together. So, well, sometimes if they don't do a good job of the seams of it, now you can see actually the division of the patches, which makes it impossible to play on at times. And also the bounce of the ball is not what you expect it to be because you got turf underneath. And it was a hazard in terms of the health of the players, and I'm not sure how actually European teams allow that to happen, to be the surfaces that they play in. And it did not give you a true bounce as a player, so it was quite frustrating.
I played in a couple of bad ones, and bad in different ways. I played Preston North End when they still had their AstroTurf pitch. And this is back in the 90s, so you know what the AstroTurf was like back then. Played in Bucharest in a Europa League game, but it poured. So you can't blame the club there. But you know what was bad? Played in Monaco. Monaco Stadium, the car park is under the stadium. So the pitch was awful. But they painted it green. Seriously, they painted the pitch green. So on TV, again, this is in Europa League, or maybe Champions League, I can't remember. It looks fantastic. But when you're standing on it, it is awful. I mean, it is patchy, nowhere near as bad as this. Nothing coming up like this, I have to say. But as a pitch, that was probably as bad as I played on professionally.
Here's another one. There was a moment where, and you'll be familiar with this stadium, the Cotton Bowl in Dallas was being remodeled. And so the games that FC Dallas was playing, we had to play at a high school stadium, Dragon Stadium, I remember, in South Keller, just outside of Dallas. But here's the problem. It's turf, right? And it's black. And so back in the day, the ESPN Soccer Saturday game was at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central Time. In the middle of summer, in Dallas.
In Dallas.
So hot as hot could be, so much so that we came, after the game, we came into the locker room, and the bottom of your shoes had melted onto the field.
Oh my goodness.
It was ridiculous.
So no, let me guess, no slide tackles.
I mean, well, you can if you want
slide,
to.
no celebration.
Nobody was running to start with. Everybody just walked around.
Yeah. And your feet are melting. But other than that, it was great.
I see Gab chuckling over there. Gab, have you seen any pitches that have been as bad as what we saw at Valladolid?
Yeah, that one was pretty bad in 2018. I remember that there was a team in. I'm sure this is on YouTube. This is like 10, 15 years ago in Romania. There was a team which had installed undersoil heating, so there were sort of pipes underneath the pitch, but I don't know, somehow it got waterlogged or something like that. And you can actually, there's a YouTube video of this, I'll find it for you. There's actually bits of metal sticking out. I think this is a Romanian second division or top division game from the undersoil heating apparatus. So yeah, I don't know if that's quite as creepy as Ali's shoes melting into the turf, though.
You know, I think that one.
Yeah, that was
that's like
fun.
playing on lava.
Dallas is a hot place.
Yeah,
Dallas is a hot place.
Yes, it is.
Indeed. All right, let's move on to our next question now. This one coming from Keston James, and he wants to know, what kind of goal did Shaka Moore concede? Okay. All kinds. The rooted to the spot ones or the courtesy dive ones?
Courtesy dive.
Oh, wow, he's very honest. Very
Courtesy
honest.
dive. You know, I had a goalkeeper coach at Newcastle, Terry Geno, and his phrase was always be on the frame. Because if you're going to concede a goal, you want to be in the picture. So you got to dive. They get in the photo.
What?
Important.
Wow, that's coaching right there.
Be in the
That,
picture.
Well, that's
Be in the
next
frame.
level.
Be on the frame.
So he wasn't hopeful
Be on
that
the
you.
frame.
Oh, wait a minute. He wasn't hopeful that you were going to stop it. So he said, it might as well
Just
be on the
dive.
Might as well be, yeah, makes a good picture. Might as well be on the back page.
At least get a picture of
Might
it.
as well be on the back page. But I know y'all won't appreciate this. So all the young goalkeepers out there.
Oh, here we
out
go.
there,
Here we go. Shaka Hislop. Drop
I
it.
have made a number of saves that I did not think I was going to just because I threw myself at the ball and got there. So there's something to it. Don't just stand up.
I love these little nuggets of knowledge from Uncle Shaka.
Ali won't appreciate that kind of.
Nuggets of knowledge.
I tell you what, I appreciate the fact that your goalkeeping coach said, you know what, I know what I'm
Dive.
working with, so
Shaka,
just
he
make
did
an
not-
effort to be in the picture.
He just did not trust
Be on the
Shaka.
frame. Be on the
right.
frame.
Let's move on to our next question, one, and I think that this is going to go to Gab because Gab is our resident conspiracy theorist, so he might be able to answer
is
this
Gab?
one best. This one's from Ahmad. He wants to know, do you agree with Vidal that Bayern would have had 2 more Champions League titles and Real Madrid 2 less Champions League titles had VAR been implemented in the last 2 seasons in the Champions League?
Ooh.
Ooh. He got excited for this one.
Certainly, there were a number of decisions that you'd want to see again, including a couple involving Vidal himself, and as I recall, Ronaldo being offside for one of the goals. But as I recall, I think in the first leg of the semifinal that we're both talking about the same one, a couple breaks went Bayern's way as well. So no, I think Vidal, in typical Vidal fashion, is a bit over the top. And remember too, Arturo, just because you get past Real Madrid there are other teams in the competition that you would have had to beat to become European champions. So I don't think it's quite that simple, but certainly with VAR, maybe we would have had a bit less of that sense of lingering injustice that they keep going on about in Bavaria.
Well, now I just found out that Arturo Vidal is a fan of the show.
There you go.
Gab was just talking to him. Arturo, come
I
here,
know.
buddy.
I just found out that Gab is a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
My
that's
first
it.
name, too. You notice he said Arturo, so only Gab. Gab's just...
Special.
Gab's a superstar. He's a special one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go to this question now from Nick. Oh, we're going to get emotional again. Hold on, let me get my tissues out. And probably because I have to blow my nose soon anyways. So, Nick wants to know, Ale, how did it feel to witness Josef Martinez break the MLS scoring record and my personal favorite, screaming, Vamos Venezuela, which I'm banned from saying because I can't quite say it like Ale, but how did it feel, Ale? Tell us again because we can't get tired of it.
Yeah, it's just a great sense of pride. It's so whenever years from now, people look into the record books in MLS, the leading goal scorer for a single season, it's going to be Josef Martinez. And where is he from? Born in Valencia, in Venezuela, and so that carries a lot of value. And the fact that it's a Venezuelan doing it, and a kid that has done it by scoring goal after goal after goal in the way that he has done it, and what it means to our country as well, to our people. It's a reason for hope. It's a reason to be proud of something. And right now, the situation in Venezuela, we hate to say it, but it doesn't give us a whole lot of reasons to be proud of anything that is going on in our country. And to see this that Joseph is doing, I think the people in Venezuela rally around that, and it gives them a moment to celebrate. Then they can get back to the survival, and then they can get back to the frustrations of their everyday lives. But this gives them something to think that Venezuela are capable of producing people with talent and producing people that can really put the name of Venezuela at the highest levels internationally, domestically, and wherever we go.
Need a moment. Shaq and I are just going to take
However,
a moment here.
I don't think Nick wrote this so that I give him a breakdown of the situation in Venezuela.
I'm like welling up here.
He wanted something else and he's going to get it. Vamos, Venezuela!
That was perfect.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Shaka's like all glistery-eyed. Gab might shed a tear all the way in London.
I don't know if Gab is. I don't know if Gab is capable of tears.
Gab is capable of tears. Gab.
Well, actually, Ali, I'll tell you what about Josef Martinez. A guy I know, a good friend of mine actually, is an agent, and he had the mandate to try and find him a club. When he was at Torino, they wanted to send him on loan. Obviously, he ended up in Atlanta, and the rest is history. So he pitched him around to a bunch of clubs in England and in France, really right across Europe, and basically he got a thank you email from Josef Martinez for just about everyone, and throughout the guy was totally courteous. He said, "I'll go anywhere." He never lost his faith, and then obviously things worked out for him in going to Atlanta. But he said he was one of the nicest, most respectful young men that he ever dealt with as an intermediary, as an agent. So I think you can only be happy that he's enjoying success now.
I mean, the warm, fuzzy feelings in this studio right now are just too much. Like, I don't know if I can anymore.
Just battle
Should we all
through.
hug it out? Let's just hug Ali.
Look at that. I never get hugged from anybody.
We're gonna call it. Shaka didn't want to hug you clearly.
Yeah, you didn't want to come in. No, all right. Okay.
We're just sending a massive hug to Venezuela. I've been there, love it there, love the food, love the people. And we hope that you guys love the show, ESPN FC. Remember, we are available daily if you want even more warm and fuzzy feelings. Just catch us on ESPN+.
And watch Craig Burley.
Oh, I forgot about Craig.
He's warm and fuzzy.
Craig.
Chelsea managed to scrap with Newcastle and come away with a win. Shaka Hislop is here with me, and it just so happens that Shaka is a former Newcastle man himself. Shaka, let's go through the goals. We saw three. The first one came as a penalty for Chelsea in the 76th minute. Marcos Alonso was brought down. Penalty, in your opinion?
No, not for me. I thought Shaw won the ball cleanly. I think from there the question is whether Marcos Alonso could have gotten onto that second ball, as it were, but for Shaw's trailing leg. I don't think he was getting there.
But you see how the ref would give it.
In all honesty, no. It was becoming a very physical game, and the referee was trying to stamp down on Newcastle's physicality, and rightly so. But on this occasion, for this incident, I don't see how or why the referee gave that. As much as Shaw did catch Marcos Alonso with the trailing leg, again, the question for me was whether, but for that trailing leg, Marcos Alonso could have gotten onto the second ball after Shaw's challenge. And I don't think he could have. I thought there were too many Newcastle defenders in close proximity. I don't think Marcos Alonso was favourite to get there. I thought it was a mistake. But I could kind of understand, and I'm trying to offer the referee an excuse here, why he called it. Just because the game had become that physical, he was trying to stamp his authority, and I think he took too long to start doing that on the game. And in my opinion, it wasn't an incorrect call.
Well, just 7 minutes later, Joselu managed to equalize for Newcastle, and that was a nice one.
No, it was a fantastic goal. The cross from Deandre Yedlin was an incredible cross. The header, even better. But again, a blown call by the referee. I thought Yedlin on Giroud was a foul. That was missed. It shouldn't have been. At least it shouldn't have been by the referee's assistant, who was on that side and very close to the action. You understand the referee being away from play, not maybe seeing it himself, but again, a mistake. And in this case, two wrongs made the right.
And finally, speaking of mistakes, it was the goal that broke Newcastle's heart, because it came from Deandre Yedlin himself, an own goal that, of course, ended up giving Chelsea the 2-1 win. Yeah,
it was. And Yedlin had to try to get something on it because Eden Hazard was coming around blind side. This coming from a Chelsea set piece, good delivery in, good ball back across, and Yedlin forced into the mistake. As I say, I don't think it's anything that he could have done differently in trying to prevent that. He had to try to get something on it. So Chelsea get the win. And as much as we question the opening two goals by Chelsea and then by Newcastle, this was beyond doubt deserved for Chelsea, who, I mean, it goes without saying, with the better team, Newcastle were playing for a draw, almost embarrassingly so. So Chelsea get the result that their play deserved, that their dominance deserved, that their attacking deserved, that Eden Hazard and his creativity deserved. So they come away with the 3 points. Newcastle get what maybe, again, their play deserved, but the approach from Newcastle is what we saw from them on the road, regardless, last season, and both home and away against teams in the top six. So their style, their approach wouldn't have or shouldn't have surprised Chelsea, and they had enough guile to get the 3 points.
All right, thanks so much, Shaka Hislop. So Chelsea were made to scrap, but in the end, they got the deserving win. The Premier League action for this weekend has basically wrapped. Shaka Hislop joining me as we look back at the standings, how they are right now. And you will see that right at the top of the table is Liverpool, who has been flying high. And then Chelsea, after their 2-1 win over Newcastle, Shaka have moved up to second spot. That's pretty much a decent reflection of the action that we've seen so far.
It certainly has. The big surprise, we're only 3 games in, and Watford still in third, 100%. Manchester City drop a couple of points after, in my opinion, a couple of blown calls by the officials. They take that one on the chin. But Liverpool and Chelsea certainly have been exciting, to say the very least, to start so far this season. Keeping in mind that, especially in Chelsea's instance, Eden Hazard only started their final game against Newcastle United, used as a substitute in the opening 2 games. And I thought, as much as we were kind of wondering exactly what Maurizio Sarri would bring, would this team be able to adapt to his style, to his philosophy, it has been a very exciting start to their campaign so far. One that